Hi everyone, welcome back to Happy Hot Home. Today I want to talk about creating a timeless look in a home by adding molding. Molding in the form of wainscoting, molding in the form of wall paneling, just the different things that you can do to your home which gives it a timeless look. It also gives it an expensive look, more than just having all plain walls. Adding molding, trim, wainscoting, crown molding, all of those things to a home just make a home look so much more high-end. Selecting the right wainscoting for a room can be difficult and overwhelming, especially since there are so many different styles from which to choose. You know you want to add accent to your wall, but you don't know where to begin. I hope I can help you sort it out. Whichever type of wall paneling or wainscoting you choose will determine the look and feel of your home. Some things to consider are how you want the room to function and the type of feeling you want to get from the room. The picture you're looking at right now is a picture of our dining room back in probably, I think, 2010, and this was in a prior home of ours 2 homes ago. And I jumped on the gray trend pretty early on, and I completely redid this room, and I added shadow boxing to the lower portion of the wall. This is one of the most common types of wainscoting. It's called a picture frame, and it is shown in the picture above when I was building out the picture frames for the lower portion of the dining room below the chair rail. It's a very traditional look, and it's very commonly used in dining rooms. The picture frame shown in this picture is also a shadow box frame, but the pieces of wood are thicker, bigger, and they're more pronounced. So the trim of this type that you use for shadow boxes, it's available in several different sizes and thicknesses. It's super easy to install, and it's placed directly over drywall. This picture is also another example of shadow boxes in a dining room on the wall, but the difference in this picture is that they go higher up on the wall, probably about 2/3 of the way up, as opposed to 1/4 of the way up in the other pictures that I showed you. So it gives a different appearance, but it still is just a beautiful look, depending on the height of the chair rail. The next type of wainscoting that I want to talk about is a raised panel type of wainscoting. And you can see an example of this on our kitchen island in our present home. As you can see, the molding is raised and the picture boxes are inset into the molding, which is different than the one that we just looked at. The one we just looked at, the picture boxes sit on top of the molding. Here, the molding is really the outside pieces, hence making it raised, and the boxes are inset. So you can still put a picture frame on the inside, you just put all those pieces of molding on the outside as well. This is a more expensive option because you are using more wood, but again, it is a beautiful look, and it is also a very traditional look. In this example, this is an example of board and batten, and it goes about 3/4 of the way up the wall, and they are long rectangular boxes. You can add an additional piece of trim on the very top if you want for added detail. I chose not to, but and I left the top just plain, but I really love this type of molding. I'll put a picture up and show you what the room looked like before. This is a picture of what the room looked like before I added the molding. We changed out the floors as well, repainted everything, changed out the chandelier, and added the board and batten molding, like I said, up to about shoulder length, and removed that middle piece of chair rail that you see in this picture. So as you can see, adding the board and batten to the dining room completely changed the look of the room. It made it more of a traditional / modern farmhouse feel, as opposed to, I'm not exactly sure what it was before, but you can see just that change. Paint and new floors made a complete difference to the room. And here is another example of where I added board and batten to a room, but in this example I added it to a bedroom. This is my daughter's bedroom in a prior home, and you can see how it completely changed the look of the room as well. And I put a piece of trim on the top, a little bit different than I did in our dining room, and just to show you that it's not necessarily just for one particular room. You can do it in any room. You can do it in a basement, you can do it in a dining room, you can do it in a hallway, you can do it in the foyer, you can do it in a bedroom. It's not just, this look and type of molding is not just for one particular area. It looks great in so many instances and in so many different types of rooms. So building on the concept of the board and batten design, in this example, this is the living room of our prior home, and I added a wall, just one wall, of picture boxes for an additional feature. It is a board and batten wainscoting, and I used square boxes. It's a beautiful feature, and since it is a busier look, I did only install it on one wall of the room. It is important when you are creating your boxes for this wall, the size of your boxes will be determined by the width and the height of the wall. So be careful to measure your space and calculate the size of your boxes based on your wall space. You want the boxes to be symmetrical all the way across the wall and down the wall. So plan very carefully if you're going to try to achieve a look like this. All that extra work of taping it out and measuring the boxes before you start putting the wood on is worth the extra effort. That is super important. You want to measure very carefully and tape the whole area out, just so that all the boxes will look symmetrical, and you won't have big boxes in the middle and then you'll have to put really small ones on the side to account for the space that you missed. So that is a super important key if you are trying to create this look. So in this example, this is the sunroom in a prior home of ours. There is not any additional molding on the wall. What I wanted to point out in this picture is the wood trim around the windows, that it is a thicker and a wider trim around the windows than maybe in a lot of windows that you would see. And it really stands out when it's painted a white, crisp color, and it just really makes it stand out more than if the trim were much smaller around the windows. That's just what I wanted to point out on this picture. It's the sunroom, and I loved this room in our home, and I painted it a very light blue. It was a beautiful color, and it just looked so great with the crisp white, thicker molding around the windows. So here's a picture of what the room looked like before I painted the window trim and the walls. As you can see, it was just like a builder gray. They came in and just like sprayed the whole thing. Everything's the same color, and there's no dimension between those beautiful windows and the wall. So the trim of the windows was very, very pretty. Let's accentuate that trim if you do have nice thick molding. I didn't change the molding. I just repainted the trim and the walls to create that really pretty contrast where it just appears that the trim, it just makes the trim stand out more. So I just wanted to show you the difference there and explain that. Another beautiful feature to add to a home that makes it timeless and will never go out of style and just makes it look so much more high-end are built-ins. You can just never go wrong with built-ins. If I have a choice between buying a piece of furniture and buying and investing in built-ins, I will always 100% choose built-ins. They just look so beautiful. They're integrated into the home, and they don't look like, you're just trying to put you're trying to retrofit a piece of furniture into a space where it doesn't really fit. So in this example, this is the bedroom of a prior home, and you can see those two insets next to the fireplace that just look so lonely. And I could have put, two buffets there, but I'm going to show you a picture where I added built-ins to the space and show you what it looks like. So here is our bedroom after we added the built-ins. Very integrated into the room. I repainted the room, and it just had such a beautiful, moody feel. Now this was several years ago, back in I think about 2013, 2014. Also take notice of the wood trim on the coffered ceiling. Back then the style was more to have a two-tone look with the paint. If I were doing it today, I would just paint the entire ceiling white to give it that very, very crisp white, and probably do it in a semi-gloss. But back then it was more of a two-toned look. Things have changed, so that's not the look anymore, but that's just another example of where the white trim on coffered ceiling just adds so much to the room. And molding, again, you can never go wrong with it, unless you're choosing molding that doesn't fit the style of the home. Most likely you cannot go wrong with it, and it's just such a beautiful element to add to your rooms. And I just wanted to show you one more example of built-ins. This is the office in our prior home, and this is just one of the walls where we added built-ins integrated into the wall. And I will show you the other side of the room as well, which I don't have a picture of, but we added an entire wall of built-ins, and it just looked so fabulous. So this is the one side in the corner where we added the built-ins integrated with cabinets underneath, and I will show you a picture of the other side of the room where we added a whole wall of built-ins. So here's an example of what the office looked like after we added built-ins. That wall was completely blank, and we created custom built-ins all the way to the ceiling. The drawers on the bottom are all file cabinets, perfect for an office, and plenty of shelving above for knickknacks and books. We also added lights, as you can see on the top, a light on each row, and it just completely gave the room a different look, and painted the room in a contrasting color, and the white with the blue was just beautiful. And this is an example of adding wall trim to another room. This is our bathroom. I recently showed you all this in a prior video. I can link it here. But these are just adding plank boards to the entire room, including the ceiling, just to create interest and give it a higher end look, and just to add wood and molding and trim to the walls. Again, it's such a pretty look. It's kind of like a quote shiplap look, even though they don't interconnect. They are wall panels that we added to the wall, and it just does create just a beautiful look for the room. So the last picture that I wanted to show you is of these two pieces of molding added to the entrance of our dining room. This is in our current home, and I know this look isn't for everyone. They are overly ornate, but just to give you an example of just adding two flat columns to the side of the dining room entrance, what kind of look it gives it, as opposed to not having it there. Again, a little bit overly ornate, but there are many other types of trims that you can add to a doorway or the sides of a doorway, just to create that interest and to give it that upscale, timeless look. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing all of the before and afters, and I hope you got a lot of ideas on trim, moldings, wall panelings for your home. The above picture that you're looking at is a picture of our prior home, and I did so many renovation projects in there, and I have so many before and after pictures of rooms. If you all are interested in seeing more of them, put a comment below, and I will create a video on a lot of before and afters if you all are interested in seeing that. Please like and subscribe. I have a lot more coming your way, and I will talk soon. Oh, and don't forget to turn on notifications. All right, I will talk soon. Ciao.